Continuing to track this breaking news, this traffic alert on the US 60 westbound is closed because of this crash on just past Mill Avenue. At this point, you can see we still have a lot of emergency workers on the scene. This is a live look from our news chopper that is overseeing. We first alerted you to this accident before the sun came up, and 2 hours later, still the freeway is shut down. We know the accident involves this box truck as well as that pickup truck. We're going to get you more details on the accident itself in just a moment when we provide you team coverage, but we need to talk about this from a traffic standpoint. Here's a little different perspective. That is the ADOT camera right there in the area, and then a mile back, look at this parking lot, all the traffic being forced off at Mill Avenue. So before we get to David out on the field, let's first map out exactly where this is and talk about your different options. So again, it is the US 60 westbound. So from Tempe heading towards the I-10 and that Broadway curve. The accident itself just past Mill Avenue. The closure is at Mill Avenue. What I'm going to recommend, if you drive on the US 60 and get off the US 60 by the time you get to the Loop 101, if you want a surface street to the north, let's use Broadway. Southern will not be able, you can't access the I-10 from Southern. To the south, let's use Baseline. But as we widen out the view here in the East Valley, what I'm actually going to recommend is if you can get to the 202 Red Mountain Freeway or the Santan, even though it might be out of your way a little bit, you'll cruise in on both stretches of the 202. So let's continue our team coverage here on Good Morning Arizona. David is live right there on the freeway with the very latest details. And David, I understand you've learned something new about the accident. Is that right?
Yeah, Gina, that's right. Within just the last 10 minutes, we got new details from DPS about how this crash happened, how many vehicles are involved, and how many people are right now in the hospital. So now we know 3 vehicles are involved. 5 people are in the hospital right now. One of them, the driver of that pickup truck, we now know is a Dodge Ram, in serious condition. So here's what DPS says happened. At around 4:18 this morning, the attenuator truck, which is this truck in the HOV lane, you could see some materials on the bed there. There was actually a worker on that truck that was picking up barricades here on the 60 in the HOV lane. It was picking up road barricades when it was then rear-ended by the driver of the Dodge pickup truck. That's according to DPS. That Dodge pickup then spun out and then was hit by this box truck here, and that's why you see damage to the front end of that box truck. So again, that 3-vehicle collision crash caused, DPS says, by the driver of the pickup truck, which first rear-ended this attenuator truck, which is a truck in the HOV lane. Again, a worker was on that truck collecting barricades when it was hit, when it was rear-ended by the driver of that Dodge pickup truck. And then that driver of the Dodge pickup truck spun out into traffic and then was hit by that box truck. A very dangerous situation, obviously, for all those involved, but especially for this worker who DPS says was collecting barricades. And that is why DPS and so many agencies often have year-round campaigns to slow down when you see people working on valley freeways, working on valley streets, because stuff like this can happen, guys. And again, we have learned that 5 people are in the hospital from this crash. Thankfully, nobody has been killed, but that driver of the pickup truck in serious condition, guys. This could all ended up a whole lot worse, especially for that worker who was on that truck collecting barricades as well. In terms of this closure, guys, DPS, within just the past few minutes, have told Arizona's family that this will last for several hours as DPS investigates this crash. That is the very latest. We're going to send it to you back out here live in the studio.